My father demanded a DNA test to prove I wasn't his son. Instead, it proved something far worse, that the family he built never belonged to him. My father demanded a DNA test for my grandfather's inheritance. "You don't look like my son," he said. So, I submitted the test, along with those of his favorite sons. I was the only legitimate grandson. While signing as the sole heir, I said, "You can start vacating my house." My father, Richard, was always clear, I was the mistake of his youth. "Look at your brothers, real men. You're just the shame your mother left in my life." When the notary read that everything went to me, his face twisted. "This is a joke. That decrepit old man didn't even know how to wipe himself anymore. This will is a farce." He turned to me. "Either you prove you carry my blood, or I'll contest that will. I won't let a bastard destroy my family's legacy." I didn't even breathe. My older brother, Nathan, the all-time favorite, shoved me against the wall. "Take the test, or I'll drag you to court like the rat you are." My stepmother, Gloria, let out a small laugh. "Everyone knew how easy your mother was. And look at her now, good and dead." My other brother, Caleb, didn't even look at me. "What's the big deal? Or are you scared?" I swallowed hard. "And if I'm not your son, then what?" Richard got so close I could smell the cheap whiskey. "Then you owe me everything, your life, your education, your roof. And you're going to pay for it all." I said nothing. But right there, in that moment, something in me broke, and with it, their ruin began. The final straw came that night. When I got home, the lock had been changed. My belongings were in black bags, dumped in the front yard. Taped to the door was a crumpled note in Richard's handwriting: "Until you prove you're not an intruder, you're not welcome here." I said nothing. I gathered my things, one by one, and started planning what was to come. That night, in a motel that reeked of cheap disinfectant, something shifted in me. The insult to my dead mother, Ellen, still echoed. This wasn't just about the inheritance anymore, it was about every humiliation, every scornful glance, every time they made me feel invisible in my own family. Sitting on that stiff motel bed with my laptop, I wrote the most important email of my life. "Dear family, I accept Dad's challenge. I've scheduled urgent DNA tests for next Saturday. I paid extra for 72-hour rush processing for all the sons, as he suggested. Results will be ready Tuesday." I sent it to Richard, Gloria, Nathan, Caleb, and copied all the uncles and cousins. If they wanted a public spectacle, I'd give them one. Gloria's reply came in 20 minutes, "Darling, I think your father expressed himself poorly. No need to involve everyone." Too late. The next day, I visited my grandfather Henry's lawyer, an older man named Mr. Thompson with tired but sharp eyes. I laid out the situation. "Look, son," he said, adjusting his glasses, "legally, the will is valid, paternity or not. Your grandfather named you, Ethan, as heir by your full name, not just as my grandson. But if there's documented paternity fraud," he paused, thoughtful. "What happens if someone hid paternity to manipulate family or financial decisions?" "That could be fraud," he continued. "And fraud invalidates many things." Interesting. Very interesting. That afternoon, I went to Henry's house, technically mine now, but I hadn't had the strength to sort through it. In the attic, among yellowed letters and faded photos, I found something that froze my blood. A letter from Henry to his best friend, dated 15 years ago. "I don't know what to think of Richard's new wife. There's something about her rush to build a new family that feels off. Poor Ethan seems like a ghost in his own house. Yesterday, I saw him crying in the garden. When I asked what was wrong, he said, 'Grandpa, why does Dad hate me?' I didn't know what to say. My vision blurred. Henry knew. He always knew. I kept reading. Last night, I overheard Richard on the phone, talking about keeping up the farce until the old man dies. I didn't catch the context, but the tone, my God, the tone was of someone waiting for an inheritance. That son of a bitch had played the devoted son while planning my humiliation for years. But something was missing. I needed to know why they were so desperate for money. On Monday, I went to the property registry. As the heir, I could check the history of their house. What I found stopped me cold: 3 foreclosure notices, the latest from last week. Richard had 2 months to pay $10,000, or they'd lose the house. It all clicked: the desperation, the aggression, the public humiliation. They weren't fighting for family pride. They were fighting for financial survival. My phone rang. It was Gloria, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Darling, your father's very upset. You know his heart condition. Don't you think it'd be better to settle this privately? Think of the family scandal. Wasn't it your husband who made this public?" I replied, calm in a way that surprised me. "I'm just giving him the solution he demanded. See you Saturday." I hung up. 2 hours later, Nathan called. "Hey, rat. Dad says if you drop this stupid test, he'll let you stay in the basement apartment. The basement apartment of a house they'd lose in 2 months. How do you know that? I asked. I know a lot, brother, he sneered. See you Saturday. On Thursday, Richard changed the locks on Henry's house. I arrived and couldn't get in. Panic hit, then rage, but I remembered Mr. Thompson's words. I called the police. Officer, I'm the legal heir to this property. I have the certified will. Someone changed the locks without my authorization. Within 2 hours, I had a locksmith and a police officer as a witness. Richard came running when he saw the patrol car. This is my house. My father lived here. The officer reviewed the documents. Sir, according to this will, the property belongs to your son. You're committing trespassing. Richard's face collapsed. He glared at me with a hatred I'd never seen. This isn't over. No, it isn't, I said, holding his gaze. It's definitely not over. That night, I sent a photo of the new keys to Richard and Gloria, property secured. Thanks for the reminder to verify my legal rights. On Friday, my cousin forwarded a screenshot from the family chat. Gloria had written, "Don't worry, boys. Your father has everything under control. Saturday, the mistake will be corrected, and we'll go back to normal." I laughed for the first time in weeks. If only they knew what I knew. Saturday dawned sunny. I wore a shirt Henry gave me for my graduation, ready to honor his memory the right way. I arrived at the lab 30 minutes early, needing to see their faces. Richard walked in first, in a new suit, with that arrogant smile he wore when he thought he had everything handled. Gloria followed, flanked by Nathan and Caleb like bodyguards, looking like catalog models, perfect as always. They'd posted selfies in the parking lot, family fierce. The irony burned my stomach. "Son," Richard said in a fake paternal tone, "you can still stop this. Admit you're wrong, and we'll give you something, an apartment, maybe. Don't humiliate yourself further." Humiliate myself? I looked him in the eye. "This was your idea, Dad. I'm just accepting your challenge." The lab technician called us in. As I waited for my turn, I watched my perfect family. Gloria whispered something to Nathan, who shot me a look of contempt and shook his head. Whatever they were planning, I was 5 steps ahead. During the week, their smear campaign kicked off. They called every uncle, cousin, and acquaintance. "The grandson's unhinged," Richard said on the phone, unaware I'd set up call forwarding to record everything. "He wants to steal everything." My father was senile when he wrote the will. Gloria was subtler. We always knew something was off with him. Poor boy grew up without a real mother figure. Now, with my husband's heart condition. Quite the performance. I sent a group email to the family. "I'm complying with my father and his wife's public demand. Any questions about this drama, direct them to them." On Wednesday, Nathan tried to break into Henry's house. The security cameras I'd installed Monday caught him fumbling at the back door. At 2 a.m., I sent him a screenshot. Should I add trespassing to the family drama? His reply was instant. It was my grandfather's house too. I wrote back. Now it's mine. He didn't respond. On Thursday, Gloria crossed a line. The lab called. "Sir, a woman claiming to be your relative tried to bribe a technician to alter the results." My heart raced. "What woman?" "She identified as your father's wife. Offered $5,000 to correct errors." "What did you do?" "We escorted her off the premises. It's on video." Perfect. Now I had evidence of attempted bribery. Friday, the email arrived. Subject, results of your confidential paternity test. I locked myself in my room, hands shaking. I'd held it together all week, but now, with the answers in front of me, fear hit like a truck. What if I wasn't his son? I opened my result first, 99.9% compatibility with Richard. I breathed for the first time in days. I was his son, officially, legally, scientifically. Then I opened Nathan's result, the eternal favorite, the real man. 0% compatibility. Caleb's, 0% compatibility. Neither was Richard's son. I shot up, knocking over my chair, pacing as the truth sank in. It wasn't just that Richard hated me for no reason. He'd built his entire family on a lie, raising another man's sons while despising his own. That night, I went back to Henry's attic, searching for something from my mother, Ellen, a memory they might have overlooked. Among dusty boxes with Henry's initials, I found an unlabeled one, caked in dust. Inside, under broken Christmas decorations, was a small metal box. Photos, Gloria, young, with 2 babies, unmistakably Nathan and Caleb. But the man in the photos wasn't Richard. It was another guy, the spitting image of my brothers. The dates on the back, 2 years before Gloria married Richard. Everything clicked, like a sinister puzzle. On one photo's back, a note, "To my love, who accepts my boys as his own. Gloria, 1998. She hadn't come into the marriage single. Richard knew from the start. He'd chosen to raise another man's sons while tormenting me for being his. He wasn't an innocent fool, he was an accomplice in a 20-year lie. Monday, I called Mr. Thompson. I need you to summon Richard, Gloria, Nathan, and Caleb for a final meeting. Say we're clarifying lineage to execute Henry's will. Do you have the results? I have them, and more. How bad is it? Let's just say Richard's about to learn that raising someone else's kids while hating your own has consequences. I printed 3 sets of DNA reports, the attic photos, the foreclosure documents, and screenshots of the recorded calls. I prepared 5 identical folders. Tuesday, Gloria called, her voice fragile. Darling, your father isn't sleeping. He's stressed about this whole situation. Can't we settle this privately? We're family. Family? I laughed, no humor. Funny you use that word. Do you know what I found in the attic? Silence, deafening. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't. Not until tomorrow, when you have the DNA results in your hands. The results won't change anything, she said, voice trembling. Your father will always be your father. You're right, I said. But he'll also be the father of no one else in that room. She hung up. Wednesday morning, dressing for the meeting, I thought of Henry, of every time he comforted me when I came home crying, how he said I'd understand one day why things were the way they were. His letter had shown he'd seen the lie from the start. He'd written his will as a time bomb, set to detonate at the perfect moment. This wasn't just an inheritance, it was posthumous justice. My phone buzzed. Nathan, cancel that joke of a meeting. We know the results are wrong. You're adopted. Period. See you at 2 p.m., I replied. Bring tissues. You'll need them. Driving to Mr. Thompson's office, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years, the calm a surgeon feels before cutting out a tumor. For 25 years, I'd wondered what was wrong with me, why I didn't fit, why Richard looked at me like a constant disappointment. Nothing was wrong with me. Something was rotten in them. Today, the world would see it. The conference room smelled of stale coffee and tension. Richard strode in with that arrogant confidence he used to intimidate me. Gloria followed, flanked by Nathan and Caleb like bodyguards, their perfect family united. They sat across from me, looking at me like a child about to be punished. Mr. Thompson silently reviewed documents. I had 5 folders stacked in front of me. Before this fraud continues, Richard said, slamming the table, I want to see the result that proves you're not my son. End this farce now. I slid the first folder to the center. Mr. Thompson checked my report, looked at me over his glasses. He is your son. 99.9% compatibility. The silence was deafening. Gloria turned pale, like she'd seen a ghost. Richard's jaw dropped. Impossible, Nathan muttered. It has to be wrong. Your turn, I said, sliding the second folder to him. He opened it, hands trembling, and I saw the moment his eyes hit the 0% compatibility. He looked at Gloria, confused. Mom, what does this mean? Caleb leaned over, saw it, then opened his own folder. His hands shook so badly he could barely hold it. His eyes glazed over at his 0%. Richard snatched the papers from Nathan's hands. Lies. This is a conspiracy. I waited for his tantrum to end, then held his gaze. You demanded the truth. You didn't say you'd like it. His face twisted with fury. Gloria tried to speak, but nothing came out. I slid the 4th folder to Richard. There's more. He opened it, and the photos spilled onto the table, Gloria with her baby sons and another man, family pictures from a life she'd hidden for 20 years. The world stopped. Richard studied each photo, his face shifting from confusion to realization to a rage I'd never seen. No, Gloria whispered. Richard turned on her like a wounded animal. How did you let this happen? He roared, banging the table. The deal was he wouldn't matter. Our pact was to protect the boys at all costs, and you were supposed to control your son. Gloria screamed back, that was your job, to keep the mistake at bay while we built a real family. Their united front crumbled into mutual accusations, 20 years of lies exploding like a nuclear bomb. When Gloria tried to deny it, I pulled out my phone and played the lab video, Gloria offering $5,000 to correct errors. This is your wife bribing a technician with money you don't have, I said. Attempted bribery is a federal crime. Contest the will, and this goes to the prosecutor. Gloria slumped in her chair, defeated. Nathan and Caleb looked at them like they were strangers. Who's that man in the photos? Nathan asked, voice broken. Mom, who is he? He's your real father, I said calmly. You're not my brothers. You never were. Caleb stood so fast his chair toppled. This can't be real. Sit down. Richard roared, but he had no authority left. Gloria found her voice. I was young, single. He abandoned me when I found out I was pregnant. Your father saved me, saved you. Richard glared at her like she was poison. Saved you? You used me. Used my money to raise another man's sons while I tortured the only son who was mine. The truth devoured them alive. I slid the final folder to Richard, and I know you're broke. You needed this inheritance to plug the hole. He opened it, saw the foreclosure documents, and his last shred of dignity vanished. How? I'm the heir, I said. I have the right to review liabilities on my property. 2 months to pay $10,000, or you lose the house. Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. The will is clear. The estate goes to Henry's direct lineage. The results confirm only one person here qualifies. I took the pen and signed the inheritance documents. The sound was like a judge's gavel. I stood and looked at them, Richard shattered, Gloria terrified, Nathan and Caleb watching their reality crumble. Moving can be tough for a family, I said. I'm giving you 30 days to vacate my house. Richard's face burned with hatred. You made me feel like a stranger in my own family while I raised another man's sons like they were gold. You ungrateful. No, I cut him off. I'm your son. The problem is you chose not to be my father. I headed for the door. Gloria tried. Wait, can we talk? We're family. I stopped, not turning. Family? You destroyed that word a long time ago. You can't throw us out on the street. Nathan screamed. Where will we live? I turned to him. Not my problem. I was never part of your family, remember? You made that clear for years. This isn't over, Richard muttered. No, I said. It's definitely not over. It's going to get worse. I walked out, leaving behind the detonation of 25 years of lies, humiliations, and psychological torture. For the first time, I walked like the legitimate son I'd always been. In the parking lot, I heard shouting from the room, accusations, crying, a fake family falling apart. I didn't feel pity. I felt justice. My phone buzzed. Nathan, you screwed us all. I hope it was worth it. I replied, ask your mother if lying for 20 years was worth it. That night, for the first time since Henry's funeral, I slept soundly, not as a victim, not as the despised grandson, but as the sole legitimate heir of a man who loved me enough to give me the tools to destroy those who destroyed me. Henry's revenge was perfect, and so was mine. It's been 6 months since that meeting. I hired movers and sent their belongings to separate storage units. A single text to Richard, Unit 237. Expires on the 30th, tell Gloria her things are in Unit 238. No reply. The news exploded in family circles like a nuclear bomb. It wasn't just paternity fraud, it was a decades-long conspiracy. Richard and Gloria became social outcasts. Their marriage imploded in a toxic divorce, each blaming the other for their financial and social ruin. Caleb called a month ago, crying, our mother lied to us our whole lives. He kicked us out. We have nothing. So now you know what it's like to be a stranger in your own house, I said. I wish you luck. I hung up. I've started restoring Henry's workshop. Among rusted tools and old blueprints, I'm rediscovering who he was, and who I am. I found a photo of my biological parents, Ellen and Richard, from before everything broke. I framed it and set it on the fireplace mantel. Then I burned Gloria's box of memories, a necessary purification. My cousin wrote last week, Grandpa always knew you were the only one of pure gold. He'd be proud. Yesterday, a message from an unknown number, Gloria, you ruined my life and my son's lives. I hope you rot in hell. I read it, deleted it, blocked the number. They don't even deserve my anger. This afternoon, on the porch of the house that's truly mine, watching the sunset, I reflected on the final irony. Richard demanded a DNA test to prove I didn't belong. In the end, the test proved the family he built never belonged to him. Justice wasn't revenge, it was an extermination. Henry didn't just leave me an inheritance. He left me the truth. And the truth, as he always said, has a way of coming to light when liars least expect it. Now I sleep in peace, not as a victim, but as the legitimate grandson I always was. The house is silent, a clean silence, free of secrets and lies. For the first time in 25 years, I'm exactly where I belong. Before I go, a question. Was I wrong to take the inheritance and evict them after they made me feel like a stranger my whole life? I spent 25 years believing something was wrong with me, only to learn the truth was their lie. Was I too harsh, or was this the justice my grandfather intended? Share your thoughts below. I want to hear whether you agree or not. If this story resonated, subscribe to support the channel. More stories of truth and reckoning are waiting to be told. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for staying till the end. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.